Hello and welcome to episode 23 of our Timberborn Update 7 Emberpelts playthrough, cycle 42, day 2. Last time we did a whole lot of stuff. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I guess we'll find out. But the main thing we were trying to do is get wheat production up and running here. And for the most part we've succeeded. We do have 2 each of bakeries making apple pies, scones, and pepper bread, and storage for most of the products and things that go into those. But not quite everything. Wasn't exactly sure how to make that work, and I kind of don't want to make a mistake. So I'm going to leave that alone until I can figure out exactly what I want to do so it's not completely terrible. I also put this little smokestack thing in, not really thinking too much of it, but you guys seem to like it, which is cool. And there was one suggestion that I really liked and thought would be a fun thing, and that was to, on one of these areas here, place in one of these things that has a fire coming out of it, so that maybe there's a lighting effect here. Might be kind of neat. We'll see. But that is something that we can continue working on as time allows. Today, as we make an effort to get this series wrapped up within the next couple of episodes, while still trying to hit most of the stuff we wanted to do, I thought it would be a smart idea for us to finish off all of our badwater mitigation stuff. We have a couple of these sources here that are just constantly spewing bad water. We can definitely take care of. And then depending on what kind of time that takes, we may also be able to do some diversion things for the regular sources when they turn into bad water things. So what's going to have to happen here is we're going to have to figure out a solution to get beavers and supplies over here to this area. And the easiest thing probably is just regular old tubeways brought back up this side. I don't think we have to worry about power. And to my knowledge, these are the last 2 just pure bad water sources on the map that we have not done anything with. So that seems to me, honestly, like a pretty simple, easy task for us to just take care of right now. So I will go ahead and bring this out to about here. And let's see. Easiest place for us to actually build from would probably be right about here. I'm going to say that would make the most sense. So let me just have this go all the way down. And we also have these regular sources here that are blocked off. This would be an opportunity for us to manage this at some point after we get everything actually shut off the rest of the way. So this will connect very easily here. And then I will do the same thing coming over here before I go up. Just need to see what we're working with. Okay, so there's no regular source back here to my knowledge. So I just need to be able to build down. So I think what's going to make the most sense is to come out to here and just have this come out right about here. And that, of course, is going to be easiest with a tiny tubeway station. And the same kind of deal over here. Just so they can do what they've got to do. There should be no risk of flooding or anything like that. So, friends, you already know what time it is. That's right, it's time-lapse time. So we're going to get these guys in here, constructing these tunnels, follow them up as they go vertical, and then once they do get access to these areas, we'll put in those bad water cap things. Discharge, technically, is what it's called in this mod. And then we will be good to go to look at some other diversionary things. But I thought it would be a smart idea to just get this knocked out right off the gate. And I will catch up with you in just a moment once that is accomplished. Alright, so they finally finished building these 2 bad water discharges just in time for the drought to start. But this is going to be great, not having any more naturally occurring bad water once the rest of this gets flushed out. And then, of course, we do still have some other sources to reroute and take care of everything else with. That's a very good start. Now that it's a drought, we have another problem we need to solve over here, and that is I removed this levee here so we could get in and replace the ceiling in here. And that is something that we absolutely need to take care of. So that can go back in there. These guys can easily get down here without getting wet. No problems. Everything is going to be just fine. And since we're over here, we don't have enough maple trees to make enough maple syrup to do all of these different recipes, although we're honestly doing decently well. And one of the suggestions given in the comments of the last video was for us to plant some maple trees over here at this kind of technically a recreation area, but not really a recreation area. So I just have to decide what I think is going to be better and where that's going to be. Because we do have down here, all the way down here, a tank for maple syrup that is supposed to be set to obtain. I guess I could have both of those set to obtain too. So I probably should locate it at least kind of logically along a similar tubeway setup, which leads me to believe this is the better place to put it, but there's not going to be a lot of opportunities to have trees planted over here that would make a ton of sense. But who cares? So let's just do it. Anticlimactic, I know. But where can I stick one of these where it's not going to be completely ridiculous? If I do it on this side-ish, it might actually be the better way to go. I don't know that it really matters, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to do one better. Let me stick this on a set of platforms here. I think this should be a viable thing for us here. Yeah, we'll go with that. And then what I will do is I will just turn basically all of this into maple tree farming. And I think I can get a pretty decent amount of these trees planted here. Let's go with that. What that's going to allow me to do is then in turn take away the maple trees that are planted over in our starting area. And I think this is about... I might be able to put one tree here. That's about as much as I could get out of this. Minus... Okay, so they actually have a pretty decent reach here. There's a couple other things I wanted to discuss as well when we get to that point. But I have to make sure that I'm putting things in the correct spot here. Because I'm also going to have in this exact spot probably the tapper shack to take care of this. Yeah, so that's going to go there. We'll do this, this, and this. I think, remember, if it has a tiny bit of green, it can sustain a tree. So we may end up having to add a few more here. And, okay, there's a few that aren't going to be part of this just by virtue of the range here. That's going to look kind of strange. What I might end up doing is I might end up just unplanting these very edge ones so these can spawn naturally. I don't want to, you know, babysit. Why are these not growing here? That doesn't seem like a good way to spend the rest of my time for this episode. So they're going to continue planting those, or they're going to start planting them once this is actually done, and we can kind of, you know, not worry about that for the next little bit. We also got right here this bit of land that is not irrigated and realistically can't be irrigated. Somebody suggested that I blow this up, and I'm not entirely opposed to it, but I figured I would ask your input, and then we could just have this be kind of separated. I don't know. I don't think we need to blow it up, but I don't know. If you think it would be fun, we can do that. Now these two ways here go all the way down to this, which then goes over to here and over to here. It's not the best setup, but it works. Remember that we have these power shafts here that kind of make this a little annoying to traverse. And I'm also going to need to have a tank over here. So what might actually have to happen is let's put a buried tank for maple syrup. Yeah, I have the height to do that. Let's go down one more here. And then what I can do, take that and then take that. just as regular tunnels. This will be for a tiny tubeway station, and then this will be a buried tank. I think that's the easiest way to handle this without it being completely stupid looking. So that will be easily solved. Make sure that's facing the correct direction, and it is. It shouldn't take too long for them to take care of this, but if I sit here staring at it, then it's definitely not going to get done. So we'll come back to that in just a moment. I don't think it's going to negatively affect any irrigation either. It's still a drought, which is a good time for us to come in and mess with this diversion area here. And for us to be able to get back in here, I'm going to have a staircase so that these guys can get moving with that. Ah, of course. How could I forget? I put that in the wrong spot. That goes there. That goes there. And then what I need to do here is I need to take these blockages out. These beavers will get wet, but that is fine. They will survive. And what I need to do now is I need to have from this tubeway on this level all of this blown up as a tunnel. And what we have to do to get over there is, well, send a tubeway tunnel in. And then at the very edge here, see, we already busted that open. Very edge here, I'll put in a regular tunnel, and then one of those, what do you call it? Very scientific term. Yeah, the tiny tubeway station, there we go. And then, like we've done in a couple other places on the map, I'm going to put in some sluice gates here because this is lower than the discharge area. So that means only clean water will come through here, all the bad water will just go off the edge of the map. That might take them a little bit of time to get to, so let's come back over to wherever I was. Over here? Yeah, alright. So I should be able to just delete this. No problems. Underground tank for the maple syrup. If I can remember what that looks like. There we go. That can be set to supply. They're still planting there. That's going to take a billion years. But once that's done, these maple trees can go away, and these apple trees can get spread over here, and then that'll give us some more apples. Because believe it or not, with all of these being apple trees, we're still really, really, really low. In fact, there's a bunch of apples up here that aren't being picked. We don't have anything else to work with here. Got the pine resin, but I don't need the maple syrup here now, do I? I probably shouldn't get rid of this because we're still using these maple trees to get our only maple syrup for the next 30 days, but we'll keep that in mind as we continue going about our business. Maybe come back to that at some point. Now, back over here. Let's go all the way down to this level. Yeah, this is ready for us to have our tiny tubeway station. Now, before I do this, I know there's going to be at least a couple of you who are going to be like, why are you just going to flood this? Like, it's going to be fine. Don't worry, we're going to fill this in. This is just temporary. And we still have 4.5 days of drought. So any water that's locked in here is going to be absolutely minimal. It will end up drying out extremely quickly. So now we're just kind of at the mercy of the beavers to come in here and blast all this stuff out. And then we will see how this goes. So yeah, that's already going down in there. It's fine. We don't need to worry about it. Nothing bad's going to happen. It's going to be okay. So now all the water's drained out of here, and it's just down in the bottom of this. Again, absolutely nothing bad has happened. Nothing bad will happen. Just have to wait. I will take that out so I can start the process of putting in my sluice gates here and here. This needs to be set to close below contamination, so that anytime it is contaminated, it will open up. 1% is fine for this. Don't need to really worry about it. And then, just as soon as they take these 4 out here, we'll be able to take care of the rest. And then, after that's done, we'll need to go find another area we can go modify here in just a moment, because we do still have almost 4 complete days. That'll be fine. So once these sluice gates are built, I will remove this tiny tubeway station and we'll fill this back in with regular dirt. Absolutely nothing bad will happen. Alright, what's on the floor? Planks, don't care. Goodbye, 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 and goodbye. So, over here we do not have a regular water source. If we go all the way to the very bottom of the map, we'll be able to find where the rest of our water sources are that we have not done anything with. In the corner, we have these things that are not blocked off. These are just regular sources. And they are so easy to come in here and just blast out the edge. I know we don't have access to them right now. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause the game. And all I have to do is get this set up. Now, at some point we can come back in here. I don't have anything close by tubeway station-wise. But I did get these guys over here, and I'm trying to remember exactly how I did that. Oh, straight up from above. Okay, so let's give these guys a fighting chance for success. And come over here. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge of the map because the tiny tubeway stations have issues with that, as we learned in our Project 1K playthrough, that yes, is going to get finished. Just have to find time. People do keep asking about that. I wanted to make sure you guys all do that. How? It shouldn't be too terribly difficult for us to get this accomplished here. But I am going to have to blast away. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I'm just going to use tubeways for this. I don't think we need to be super worried about doing literally any of this. So if I just make this a regular tunnel, it's going to be fine. And then I'll come in, because this is where I have to put the station for them to be able to build this here. Let's go up with two-way tunnel here, 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 here. And then on top of that, just a tiny two-way station. It's easier, faster for us to do it this way. Is it the most efficient? No. Do I care? Also, no. This has to come in the same kind of way, but this can easily go around here. And then that is going to make it possible for me to come into this. The game is still paused because we're in a drought. I want to try to maximize this, in case you were curious why that was happening. So, that ends up being a two-way tunnel, 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 tunnel. And then, from here, just put that there, give ourselves a staircase. Put that there, and there we go. So we scroll all the way down to here. This is actually, it doesn't look like it from this angle, but this is actually one level below here, which is why I'm doing this setup the way that I'm doing it. So, once that's taken care of, that's going to take care of, once that's taken care of, that's going to take care of it. Yeah, okay, Yogi Berra, calm down. Man, I hope the people who watch these videos know who that is. Those 5 sources ready to go. We have one here that is currently blocked off. So I'm not really worried about these that are blocked off. I have no real reason to unblock them, unless people are going to be crying and screaming and throwing up because I'm not going to do it. In which case, then maybe I will. Why is this lagging so bad? Okay. So I think I can leave those alone for the time being. Then, come on, lag. I've got this over here, which this is just a regular one. It's dumping stuff out. I've got one here that is also a regular one. How far up? Yeah, see, oh, they did such a good job with this, whoever made this map, because this is going to be so much easier for me to deal with. See, that's going to have to be a regular tunnel. I have to be careful not to do this during a bad tide, so we're going to have to check up on this, and I don't want to do all of these at once, because that's exactly how that's going to go down if I did. So if there's no level change, I don't need to worry about drop-off edges, because remember, this is still update 7. But 4 of these should be able to go through a 2-wide tunnel. Of course, we'd put sluices, all 4 right there, which means this would be a good place for a tunnel. And then, just because this is what we've been doing for everything else, tubeways. That goes there, 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 there. Ah, there's a tree. Okay, so, new plan. is we go out to a different spot, like right here. So that would have to be over to here, and then that would come out right to there, and then that would be an easy place for us to put a tiny two-way station, not going directly into a tree. And wouldn't you know it, there's already a path right over here. So that is going to be a good opportunity for us to just stack up some ladders, not in the hole. That is not going to work. So this is why you... okay, that's annoying. I'm just going to do this. This is why you always leave a note. Just bring that right there. All the way across. Again, super simple. That's going to get this taken care of in due time. Obviously, I have to put the sluices there after that's done. But that is now sources on this side of the map minus this one here, which is not going to be too hard. Honestly, we could probably just block this one off. I don't know. I don't really know a good way to get this out because there's not a convenient spot to get this out of here. Now, blocking off sources, I do understand and appreciate that a lot of folks would consider that to be cheating, and I would probably agree. Sources that are already blocked off, not unblocking those, I do not think constitutes the same thing. But in the spirit of the challenge, I think it would be a wise move to try and figure out a way to get this bad water liquid out of here without polluting everything. So this is already one block below. If I came behind here, and if I carefully engineered, I know, me and engineering, definitely not a thing that, you know, does anything of value here. I would have to have this go all the way out. And that might seem kind of ridiculous, but it's fine. I'll tell you what, let's not do this as a regular tunnel, because it's going to be so much slower to do it that way. Let's do this as a tubeway tunnel. And then I just have to disconnect the tubeways. That is going to be the easiest possible way to do this. Is it going to be more expensive? Yeah. I don't care. We're trying to get this thing accomplished before the eventual heat death of the universe and or the end of the year, whichever comes first. So that is going to be probably the only way we can get this done. I will have to fill this in accordingly when we get to... Oh, wouldn't you know? What a convenient location to have to do this to. Let's go down one more level, just so we, you know, don't have to completely lose our minds. Tiny two-way station there. Okay, so that's going to take care of those sources. This one's already been addressed. This one here, I don't have an underground escape for, and I don't know that I want one. We'll call this one a stretch goal to solve, because it's going to be kind of difficult. That's already taken care of. Yes, I know the game is still paused. This is... Do I have easy access over here? I'll tell you what, let's leave this one alone, because I've already bitten off so much more than I think I can reasonably chew with a lot of this. See, I don't even remember what else I have set up here. This is what happens when you try to do too much stuff at once. Okay. I guess I should probably just have them get to work on this. Actually, you know what? I need to check and see that they've gotten that. Yeah, okay, they have. All right. You know what time it is? That's right, folks. It's time-lapse time, where we're going to time-lapse the time until the time that's time-lapsed is enough time that we can stop doing the time-lapse. I'll just bounce back and forth between this area and the area we just quote-unquote completed, trying to do diverging things. Obviously, if there's a bad tide that happens, I'm going to have to stop and, you know, keep the beavers from becoming sacrifices, as one does. But I don't think it's going to be a tremendously annoying ordeal, considering there's a lot less construction in this corner specifically. compared to some of the other spots on the map. And we don't have to have a whole lot of explosives and all this other stuff that has to get brought in like we do with the bad tide cap. Whatever the thing's called, I have no idea what anything in this game's named anymore. It's fine. I will talk to you in just a moment. Alright, so start of an 8-day drought here in cycle 43, and they've just about finished all the construction that I set up for them. We have up here this badwater diversion completely sealed off. They're finishing this one as we speak, getting the last of these pieces in and detonating. And now for this to be fully complete, going to remove all of these except the stack there. I do need to remember how that's going to work. We don't need all these random pieces of rubble, so I will delete those just so we don't have to worry about it, as I completely fail to accurately click on these and then shift backspace to make them go away. But it's fine. Just get the rest of these cleaned up. Now the diversion for this is going to be in this spot right here. This tubeway. A sluice gate set to... see, I can't take that out without... Okay, so, mistakes were made. Let's just quickly ignore this. Because what I have to do here, most likely, is going to be get rid of this. And then, let's see, 1, 2, yeah, just blow this up. Easiest way to do it. Double right there. Get this out of here. Put a sluice there and then backfill the hole. But since it is a drought, we have the opportunity to examine everything else here. This was time-lapsed. I'm sure you saw it. Everything is totally fine here. These were taken care of before. I said I wasn't going to mess with this unless people got really angry about it, so do as you choose. And this over here I said I wasn't going to get into yet, because they had plenty of stuff to do. This will be the next project. But at some point I am going to run out of time today to accomplish stuff. This we did a long time ago, and we have this right here that has not been taken care of. That could be another project we could do. But I did remember that we have this set up, and I haven't swapped this Forester E over for a tapper shack yet. And these are at 79%, so we should see our maple syrup numbers rebound substantially. We're at 51,000 food. Like, we've solved food at this point. I want all these numbers to be high numbers. So as long as there's no more trees we could reasonably plant, I will take this away. And then in its place, if I can remember where it is, tapper shack, there we go. Put that guy right there, and that'll take care of those problems. And I will unplant right here, right here, right here, and right here to spread, not here. I think we might do something else with this space, but spread these maples around some of these other areas that are still irrigated, just so it looks a little bit better. And I think we can leave that alone. But let's come back over here to the oops, I messed up location and hit B for boom. Then we come down to this level here, and it is a simple fix. All I've got to do is set this to close below contamination, and then on the top of it, it'll get a couple more of these guys. And that, friends, will seal this area up. I don't even think I need to put another piece of dirt here. It'll be fine, and that will take care of, well, all of this diversion here. And I think that is a pretty nice amount of progress. Just for transparency's sake, I've been recording over an hour and a half, and I have no idea. No, I don't want to keep a stopwatch. I'm going to forget, and then it's going to be useless anyway. I don't know how long the episode is at this point on your end, but this has already been a tremendous amount of time for me to spend on what I would quantify as almost nothing in the grand scheme of things. But the show must go on. We have these things over here that need to be dealt with. These are on the same level, and this one is one level higher. I think we could... obviously, this one on the very outside here is going to be easy for us to solve. Similar kind of things we've done everywhere else. Here, depending on how we want to have this set up, I think it benefits us to have this set up like so. This can just go straight down. This can go into here, and then we can just have a single 3 wide should be enough for 8 sources, I would have to believe. If that's not the case, we can fix that at another time. I believe I should be able to put in sluice gates. Maybe I'll make this one a little bit wider. Should be fine. So this will be the new project for that spot. I just need to get the beavers in here. There is no tubeway nearby. What's the closest? Okay, we do have a path here. Is it going to be faster to come from this way? And this is connected to tubeways. Because I know I have that taken care of. We had a whole to-do about this. Maybe, folks, it's going to be just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit faster to come in from here. What's this going to be? What level? Right here? I'm going to want to come in from this side. So if I did this, yeah, this will just be the easiest way to do it. Come up, come up, come up, come up, up to here. That's going to get us, if I make that a regular tunnel, then I'll remember that I have to put in a thing there. And then the same kind of deal here. I know this is a whole lot of tunneling, a whole lot of everything, but it is the easiest way to accomplish this. That's going to take care of that. And this area over here is comparatively going to be much simpler for us to mess with, because we already have easy access over to here. The same kind of deal, I believe, depending on how we want to structure this. Just put this right here, and then the rest of this gets to be tube-way tunnel. As long as I'm not going to break through anything. Yeah, we'll roll with that, and then keep an eye on all of this. So, once again, it is time for a time-lapse, as we have done many times, but I really want to make sure we do as much of this as we can now, so that the remaining episodes of this series, of which there will most likely be 2 or 3 more, depending on what my schedule ends up looking like before the end of the year, we can put in some more housing, we can do some decorating, maybe make something that looks nice, and get as much of the rest of the map green as possible without having to worry about bad water going absolutely everywhere. So, they're going to take care of that. I guess I get to sit here and stare at this for the next however many minutes, but for you, it's only going to be a couple more seconds. You lucky dogs. I'll see you on the other side. Alright, so this marathon construction session is finally complete. We have these sources, these sources, these sources, and these sources now safely routed where they're supposed to go during both good and bad tides, which I know we're not going to see the benefit of until we have another bad tide here, but a gargantuan amount and time of work, if that even is the correct way to say that in the language I've been speaking for 34 years, but I digress. We've gotten a lot done. I just need to impress upon you how long that actually took. Over 2 hours of recording for what is probably half an hour of condensed footage. But I wanted to come back over here and see, now that we have this brazier in place, if that's even going to be visible. No, you can't even see from above unless you're in the exact right spot. There's a little bit of a glow on this wood right here, but I don't know, it still looks kind of neat. So, what have we accomplished with our maple trees? Well, these are spreading, and we have actually started tapping some of these. It's just, as you know, a very slow process. We're up to 58,000 food, and some things are looking a lot better. Some things haven't really changed that much. I think we could probably stand to have some more berries planted. Not entirely sure where would make sense. I mean, I maybe could put some up here. We did have some planted down here that we haven't fully taken advantage of. We clearly have way too many oak trees anymore, so I think what's going to make sense is if I just take away a bunch of these oak trees right here, because they very clearly are not being used for the purpose of wood farming. So if we get rid of these, put this back on triple speed, I can plant a few more of these berry bushes. In fact, what might make sense here, because this is all the way out. I know I have a gatherer flag here. If I just get rid of these that are the closest, I know I have a couple of berry bushes here already. I just take this out to... I don't want to take all of these out, but if I just commit to doing this, I can make all of these into berry bushes, and then I think that should more or less satisfy all of our needs for berries. Of course, these do take, after they're planted, a full 24 days until we have our first berries. But it's a start. You know the drill. We'll just do what we've got to do whenever we have to do it. Just got a couple more of these to remove on a few different spots, and this arrow will be all good to go. And we can go and check on something else for the rest of this episode, depending on what all it is we'd like to do. You know what? And take this row out too. Why not, right? We've already got more wood than we're ever going to be able to do anything with. These not reachable. That is truly unfortunate. I didn't think that was going to be an issue because we have a path right here. Well, I don't really feel like messing with it, so I'm going to unmark these for demolition. And that should help solve that problem. So we've got more berries now. The rest of these crops, wheat, believe it or not, we are completely out, but we're also trying to fill a huge amount of storage for wheat. I don't think that needs to be an issue. Radishes remain a problem. Beets as well, although we do have beets, we just don't have the capacity to bake the beets. That's another part of the food overhaul that is still forthcoming. But now, I can come over here and get rid of all of these maple trees, now that we have those actually giving us syrup. I had intentionally avoided doing this earlier because we actually needed the syrup. We may still need this syrup too, but I think it's going to be just a lot better if we have more apples. Because we're still consuming them. This number has only raised slightly in the past 2 hours of me time-lapsing stuff. So it's time to plant more apples. It's time to have more of these actually harvestable. Put in a single additional gatherer flag. Should allow us to get to everything else. Yeah, see, that's going to be just so much better. And there we go. That's going to get that taken care of. None of these are marked for cutting, except this one right here, and that's kind of funny. Yeah, I kind of want to see what happens when a bad tide comes in, but we haven't had one in quite a while. I know there's still a few sources that we do have to do something with, but for now, I think I feel pretty comfortable leaving this as is. Just to recap, we rerouted this source. We've got these here in the corner. We said why I'm not doing anything with this. We've done sources here and here. We've got this one, this one, this one, and this one over here. These are buried. We haven't... well, that's the wrong ones. These are buried. These are buried. They are blocked in. I do not have to unblock them. Therefore, I don't think I care. What else? Because I know there's not that many left. This has already been diverted. We discussed how and why. This is just that big old turbo drain here that I think is actually pretty cool. And in terms of actual sources, did we do all of them? We might have. Except this one. Yeah, this is this might be the only one left. So let me know in the comments if you would. If you want me to do a tunnel diversion for this one as well, or we just leave it in place. I guess a bad tide, we're not going to get one today. I'm out of time to record. I have to end this, but I guess a bad tide is going to be the only way for us to know for sure just how much more needs to be done to keep this green. So to get the rest of the map green is probably going to take more time than I have, to be perfectly honest with you. But I will do you the solid of identifying areas that I could potentially, since this is only ever going to be clean water, dam up to increase water height in areas that's going to help avoid flooding other parts of the map. Maybe make a little bit more of the land green, identify some of these big spaces that could benefit from having irrigation, like maybe up here, up here, up here-ish. Just the reality of it is, I've got another week and a half to try and do 2-3 weeks worth of videos while we have all this other fun stuff going on, and if this one is going to take me like 4 or 5 hours by the time I'm done getting everything compressed and all that and uploaded, I'm not going to have time to do another like 8 episodes of this. So I would like to know what is most important to you to see this series off to a successful conclusion. We have not done bots. Do you want to see bots? Do you not want to see bots? How many more beavers, bio beavers, whatever, would you like to see? We're hovering right around 170. I did say it might be kind of nice to have between 300 and 500. But, you know, as I always say, it is a let's play, not a watch me play. So I want to hear what you have to say, and I want to know what you want to see before we put this one to bed, because I like this mod. I really like the Emberpelts. I think this is a fun map. I wish I had more time to dedicate to quote-unquote 100%ing it. And yes, I know we do still have to put in the Wonder of Fire as well, but that's not a big deal. Just let me know. But it is truly time, and another drought. We're not going to get a bad tide for a while. It's time for me to say goodbye for this one. And, of course, we'll be back in this on Tuesday. But, yeah, let me know what you think, and we'll get everything all figured out. I really appreciate the support the series has gotten so far. And, of course, Beard Boosters making it possible to even have series like this that go episodes into the 20s, 30s, and in the case of the Water Beavers, probably into the 70s by the time that one's done. It's not possible to do this without those people's support. I don't have to do sponsors. I don't have to do any of that other nonsense or try to bait the algorithm with whatever. Because those folks said, hey, you know what? We like how stuff is, and we want it to stay the way it is, and I'm just super, super thankful for them. So whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you again soon for more Beavers. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.